This video isn't going to be comprehensive coverage of the history of skateboarding. It's something more personal as I tell my own experience with skateboarding over the years, and it all starts back in 1964 when Mom bought me a skateboard. I was obsessed with surfing and the California lifestyle after watching TV shows and movies. My sister playing all her Beach Boy albums helped amplify the interest. The problem was, I was a landlocked kid living in Michigan at that time, so surfing was just a dream. There was, however, plenty of concrete right outside my house, and Mom got me a skateboard so I could be a sidewalk surfer. I searched through all the old family photos, but unfortunately I couldn't find a pic of then 7-year-old me with my skateboard. But here's a few from the internet that shows what my first skateboard looked like. I don't remember what graphic was on the deck. It could have been that green shark, but I kind of remember it as having 2 green feet and it said hang 10, but that could have been a later board. It definitely had metal wheels, which worked fine in a straight line but were almost worthless trying to take a turn. This picture is of our family's Michigan house, and that sidewalk out front is where I like to ride. There was just enough downhill going towards the corner to coast, but making the left-hand turn on the sidewalk was virtually impossible because of the metal wheels. Every kid in the neighborhood tried to make that turn, and everyone spun out. Towards dark, you could even see sparks coming off the wheels as they slid on the sidewalk. I think Mom took the skateboard away, fearing somebody would get hurt. That was the end of my skateboarding until Dad moved us to Naples on Florida's Gulf Coast in 1972, and living just a few houses from the beach and a short walk to the pier, I finally got my chance to go surfing. I took a woodworking class while at Naples High and made myself a couple skateboards and painted one with the lightning bolt. Metal skateboard wheels were long gone by then and had been replaced by clay wheels, which offered better traction, allowing for tighter turns. Around that same time, my friend Ron had got a Super 8 movie camera, and when he wasn't tearing up the landscape on his dirt bikes, he was filming his friends skating a few spots at the north end of Naples. That's Ron there after finding a nice smooth road to skate. The cops didn't like us skating downtown because all the old people complained, so hitting the outskirts of town that was less developed was the ticket, and Ron knew all the best spots. finding some place with an incline to skate was fun, ramps were the next big thing, so Ron and his buddies began to stitch together a ramp on an empty lot near his house. Nobody had the cash to load a pickup with brand new sheets of 4x8 foot plywood, so the ramp was cobbled together with whatever they could find. Their crude half-pipe was way too confining, so they scrapped it and went to building a bigger bowl on an empty slab down the street. That turned out to be a great idea, and it wasn't long before everyone in town with a skateboard was on it. Thanks to Ron's movies, that was a great look at what the Naples skate scene was like back in 1974. Well, I didn't get into any of that bowl action, mostly because I'm allergic to splinters. Ron did film me one day riding my Schwinn Typhoon around the neighborhood. Our bikes were our main way of getting around back then, but once I got my driver's license, the boundaries widened, and more places to skate became available. There was an empty fountain just outside Naples at the entrance to Golden Gate that we would skate sometimes. I wasn't that good at the spot because of the hard transition, but my friend Mike Williams could absolutely shred the place. Back in front of my house, I used to experiment with jumps and board transfers, but it's way more fun skating with friends. I think it was around 1977 when Marco Island paved some of their outlying roads, and one of them went right over Indian Hill, which at 51 feet above sea level is the highest point in southwest Florida. We'd load up the car and drive down there and try to skate the hill, but it was pretty much untamable. Indian Hill had a nice steep downhill section, but the problem was the road teed off at the bottom, and with the speed generated, there was no way to make that turn at the bottom. Most guys would bail out about halfway down. Some guys would try to make the turn and left some skin instead. If you went off the road, you were sure to get covered in sand spurs. It was a rite of passage, and sooner or later, every skater back then tried to tame Indian Hill. The south end of Marco Island actually had a few hills that were fun to skate, and we hit them all. Because it was so undeveloped at the time, nobody would harass us for skating, and we pretty much had free rein. When we found out that one of the first skate parks in the United States was being built over in Cocoa, Mike borrowed his grandmother's Ford Pinto, and we drove over there to check out our first official skate park, and they called it the Paved Wave. You went up some stairs to the left, then dropped down into the bowl and exited to the right into a snake run that brought you back around to the base of the stairs to start again. Well, it was kind of mind-blowing to see for the first time. The first thing I did was go straight to the skate shop they had, and I bought some new trucks and a set of those new urethane wheels called Road Riders. I put them on this longboard I had also made in high school shop class, and the new combination was unreal. I made that board for a more carving feel, and the length added stability at higher speeds. Unfortunately, I shaped it after a 70s surfboard suited for pipeline and didn't take into consideration I needed room for my size 14 feet. It was still a lot of fun to ride, and everyone at the park wanted to try it. After that, we figured you could ride anything here, so Mike grabbed some kid's Schwinn Stingray and took it for a lap around the paved wave. Coming from that rickety bowl they had patched together in Naples to a concrete skate park with a skate shop was more than we ever imagined. Little did we know how far skateboarding would really go. Soon after the paved way opened, more skate parks began to pop up, and another one we went to was called the Groundswell Skate Park, and it was in Fort Pierce. I think this park was designed by Bruce Walker. It had a super fast snake run with 10-foot walls that emptied into a big bowl. We spent a lot of time attacking the sketchy tombstone they had. The first goal was just to make it up and down to ride it out. The secondary goal was to see how high you could get. Nobody was getting close to the top, so I pulled out my longboard to get that extra length needed to get over the top. If that's legit, I definitely got higher than anybody. Executing the kick turn and riding back down and out was another story. It was a fun park and a nice diversion when on a surf trip from Naples to Cocoa Beach. The Indian Harbor Beach Skate Park was another fun one. In 1978, they held an exhibition featuring the Cadillac Wheels skateboard team, featuring Greg Weaver, aka the Cadillac Kid, known for his super stylish ads promoting Cadillac wheels in the magazines. This park didn't have any novice areas, and I think it was best suited for those with intermediate to expert skills. I felt more comfortable with my camera and snapped away. In 1979, someone built a combination mini golf and skate park in South Fort Myers. The good news is it was just a short drive from Naples. The bad news is the putt-putt course was more challenging than the skate park. It looked like it was designed by someone that had no knowledge of skateboarding. I only went there this one day and had enough, especially after visiting all those other rad parks. I think it only stayed open for a year before closing. I don't know if it closed due to lack of interest or rising insurance costs that killed most skate parks back then. As soon as I was old enough to drive, I would head over to the Easter Surfing Festival at the Canaveral Pier near Cocoa Beach. It was always a good time, with a pro surfing contest out in the water, hot girls on the beach, hot girls in the bikini contest, hot girls on the beach, and skateboard exhibitions in the pier parking lot. One particular year, maybe 1979, I'm not sure when, but Bruce Walker put on this exhibition featuring Jim McCall, who was one of his skateboard team riders along with Rodney Mullen. Jim was considered to be one of the best skateboarders in the world at that time. What a contrast there is watching Jim perform here compared to what the world's best are doing today. Fast forward to 1986 and Naples still doesn't have a proper skate park, but the skaters are still driven with wooden ramps like this quarter pipe continuing to pop up. Mark Smith and Tommy Kent were on it this day, and I stopped by to shoot a few rolls of film. With Naples getting more developed, the complaints from neighbors grew louder, so it was harder to set up ramps like this to skate. If you think the Easter Surfing Festival looked like fun, the 1986 Sundek Classic was legendary. Sundek Classic was held in Melbourne, Florida for a few years in the mid-1980s. And while it had all the activities that the Easter Surfing Festival had, like a pro surfing contest, a skimboard contest, and a bikini contest, the fact that it was held at the Holiday Inn Hotel on the beach made it much more compact, putting everything and everyone right there in front of you. If you were lucky enough to score a room in the hotel, your day didn't end at sunset because the hotel bar and lobby raged all night. The action on the beach was stellar, with something very nice to look at in every direction. Out to have a good time, everyone was well behaved and the cops were friendly too. In the few years the contest ran, there never really was any good waves, but we still got to see some of pro surfing's best, like Matt Keckley, who actually won the contest, and the many surfing legends like Corky Carroll that had attended the event. Even though the waves never showed up, the bikini contestants sure did, and the crowd loved it. It was always fun to hear Dick Catree amp up the crowd and introduce the girls on stage. The Sundek went all out for the spectators with lots of exhibitions like a thrilling air show and a skimboard expression session. A couple of times they brought Rodney Mullen on stage for a skateboard exhibition, and he wowed the crowd with the tricks he himself invented and perfected. back in Naples around that same time, the local skaters had built a super nice half pipe at Brad Fagan's house after the one they had on Kelly Road got torn down. They even had a contest there that attracted skaters from all over Florida. On this day, Mark Smith, Dave Rodriguez, Tommy Kent, Chris Rosenthal, and Dirk Flanagan were shredding the half pipe, and I was there to capture it on video.
Give it all you got, yeah, let's steal
Gus and the rest of the crew certainly were shredding that half pipe they had built in Brad's backyard, and it's a great look at skateboarding's vert progression into the mid-1980s. Now let's fast forward to 2001, and the time Tony Hawk came to Orlando to skate a half pipe, and once again I was there with my video camera to capture the action. The location was Universal Studios City Walk, and the event was sponsored by Quiet Flight Surf Shop with the owners Mrs. Leisure and her son Jim in attendance. It was a great spot to set up the half pipe, with seating that had unobstructed viewing if you were lucky enough to get there early and find a seat. The crowd swelled to capacity by showtime, with security turning people away, sending them into the surrounding area. While waiting for the skaters to arrive, lots of stuff from Quiet Flight, Quicksilver, and the other sponsors were thrown out to the frothing crowd that was amped to see the greatest skater of all time. Tony Hawk had brought along a few friends to skate with him in the show. One was Brian Patch from California, and he held his own while skating with the best on that half pipe. Local Rodney Mead made Orlando proud as he took to the half pipe and put on a show of his own. Bucky Lasek showed up late. I guess he caught up in one of those Universal lines, because you know how slow those go, and he got off to a rough start on the ramp, but eventually found his groove and ended the show with a bang that had the crowd going wild. The last on the list of skaters was 11-year-old Adam Taylor from Cocoa Beach that got to live his dream of getting to skate with the world's best. It was a stellar lineup, and they did not disappoint the overflowing crowd of fans at Orlando's Universal Studios City Walk that came to see the show.
Headline in every caption, we've gone insane with the main attraction.
say that getting to see skateboarding's GOAT, Tony Hawk, in that setting is the peak in my history of skateboards. It was a long but super exciting day and worth every second of it. After the show, the skaters went to the Quiet Flight surf shop that was right next to the half pipe there in Universal Studios, and the fans lined up for the autograph session that was going on inside. Skateboarding is a progressive sport, and you could easily see the progression from that 80s ramp to that one at Universal with the very best on it. Compare that to what's happening today, and it's truly mind-blowing to see how far skateboarding has come from those days when I got my first skateboard with metal wheels in the mid-1960s. Let's fast forward from 2001 to 2006 and go back to Naples, where skateboarding was as popular as ever, with people like Christina skating around town with no resistance from the police. It was cool to see that the city of Naples had finally embraced skateboarding and allowed the Edge Skatepark to be built right in the heart of Naples, which remains to this day. I got a bunch of my friends to show up for this session in 2006, including a few familiar faces from that 80s halfpipe crew like Mark Smith and Tommy Kent, both still skating hard some 20 years later. New to the mix was Austin Blywise, Chris Valente, Austin Pellicetti, Max Conniff, and Rex Owens, just to name a few that had come out for a session under the lights at the Edge Skatepark in 2006.
You bastard. Pull my shoulder out. Pull hard, pull hard.
Hey, can you move your legs for me?
I got one for you, Skinny.
Fire it up.
Hey. Hey. Big front side convertible bin right here on that 45.
Just remember, it's all on camera.
I'm gonna slide on that big bank right there. Maybe if I'm lucky. I'm gonna slide on my ass, I know that. I'll make one.
Still got it.
I got my left shoulder. I got my left shoulder now. That's what I still got.
Getting even down.
Oh no. Shit, fire. No, sir. You're out my shoulder. Danny, I'm coming right at you. Yeah.
Tommy, don't hit the camera now. Oops, sorry. Getting this again? You make one of those, it's going to be the shot.
Going in old school. Right here, the Bertelmann's going for old school diaries. That's the only reason why I'm trying this.
Somebody better call a ambulance.
That sucks. That's not going to go in old school diaries right there. Next one is.
Man, you came so close to pulling that off.
Ah, I can feel my asshole. Feel my Adam's apple. Yeah, sad. So we're getting old.
Yeah. Yeller.
I drove all the way down here for nothing.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Well, that's as far as my history of skateboarding goes. I really need to record a new session at the Edge, as the park has added a lot of stuff to the flat part, and there's a lot of new faces that have come up in the ranks since 2006. I'm sure I could get a few from the old crew back for a reunion as well. That would be epic.
I don't know why Tommy ain't still skating.
Tommy, how's skating changed after 25 years?
Several broken collarbones, and a lot too many. Well, not enough Budweiser actually. A lot of green bud, and maybe a little hoodie, and maybe a little paintball, maybe a couple broken bones. You gotta just see me on the dirt bike.
The film doesn't lie. You still got it.
Film doesn't lie. That's right, Daddy. I'll have it when I'm fucking 80. Well, I'm still here, and if I am here, I'm gonna still be as ornery as I am today.
Okay, it's only a 60-minute tape.
Mark it, quote it, stamp it, fucking fingerprint it. I don't care what you do with it. Fucking God's honest. WFO.
Nick, it's past your bedtime. Go home. Nick Williams, it's past your bedtime. Go home.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this story from one photographer's life.
Get that first one?
Yeah.